Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're bringing back a series which is near and dear to this channel, something we started last year, and I'm ramping it back up just as we're weeks away from the 2024 NFL Draft, the perfect NFL Draft series. Chicago Bears fans, how we doing today? Today I'm becoming Ryan Poles, and no, I'm not going to be Ryan Poles for a couple of months, not even a couple of days. Just for a few minutes, I'm going to be Ryan Poles today and try my best to create the perfect 2024 NFL mock draft for the Chicago Bears. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is the PFF mock draft simulator. Great. If you want to use it, go ahead and check it out. But I do not control the simulator. Whatever the computer does, if you feel like, okay, it's not realistic, this is something that wouldn't happen in a draft, it's probably not. And that's why the thumbnail says dream scenario. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is on that board at 9, I don't care. I'm taking him. No, all seriousness, I don't think he'll be there at 9, but you get what I'm saying with that, and you see where I'm going with that. Let's dive straight into this draft. We don't have a lot of draft picks, but I have something in mind that can help us possibly even move back, pick up some capital. Let's start this draft right here. Number 1. It doesn't take a lot of analysis to understand where I'm going right here with number 1. For the longest, I've been thinking it was Caleb Williams. I watched a little bit more film. J.J. McCarthy is the guy that I want right here for the Chicago Bears at number 1. J.J., welcome to Chicago. You're going from Michigan. Now you're coming to Chicago, playing in big city weather, understanding what it's like to throw in the cold. Okay, let's scrap that. I can't even sell that. Caleb Williams, welcome to the Chicago Bears. Number 9, this is where it gets tricky. Now, Jared Verse goes off the board at number 8. And this is where I start to think a little bit. I want to bring you guys into my thought process so we can understand. Like I said, this right here, when I do my mock drafts, just drop one football analysis. That's where we get serious. We get analytical with this. But let's have a little bit of fun today. Let's try to create this thing and make it really good. Now, Rome Odunze is still on the board. And I think this is very tempting for me right here. Now, I've already been kind of mulling a trade back, and something I've been thinking about in this process. Some people say, okay, if Rome Odunze is on that board at 9, I'm taking him and I'm not looking twice. I understand the type of player that Rome Odunze is, but I also want you guys to understand we got pick 9, 75, and 122. So how do we maximize this draft? How do we make it the best? And I think one thing I want to look at is I'm going to think on this a little bit. There's a team that I'm looking at that I want to trade back with. Okay, so we're looking right here. Indianapolis Colts, they have 15. It's going to take 3 picks minimum to move back a little bit. So they have 15, 46, 82. Also, let me check who's on the board. So I got Rome still on the board. I got Jerzon Newton, Byron Murphy still on the board, Troy Fatanu. So I have I have some very, very good prospects still on the board, actually. I'm looking at 15 right here. For me, it's really saying, okay, with Rome Odunze, what he is right now. And I want to pull this up just so we can understand kind of the profile, the type of player that he is. 6'3", 215, can run the route tree, can play X, can also play inside and serve as a big slot, can do a lot of different things, can get down the football field. The connection that he had with Michael Penix Jr. is just bar none. Now, they have 3 guys who will go. They're going to have Jalen Pope, Jalen McMillan, and then they're going to have Rome Odunze. So he played with some very, very good talent, and he was the best out of those 3 very talented receivers. And we can see this right here, just some of the things, some of the write-ups. I think he is very worthy of a top 10 pick. So right now I'm just thinking in the process, do I want to go Rome or do I want to trade back? Let me know down below in the comments right now, what would you do in this moment right here? We're in a conundrum. And I think if Rome wasn't on the board, then I feel more comfortable in trading back because I can say, okay, I really like Byron Murphy. I think when you look at he and Johnny Newton, you're looking at 2 game-changing defensive tackles. So I say I could trade back. Maybe Latu won't be there. Maybe Verse Turner. I think 1 edge will still be there, but 2 of the 3 I think wouldn't be there if I trade back. So now I'm looking at it right here where I could still trade back, pick up one of those edges. Caleb Williams to Rome Odunze, though. And I feel like either way that I go with it, people in the comments, I know what it's going to be like. But Rome Odunze, all pro caliber talent with Caleb Williams for the next 5 to 10 years. You're looking at that. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who plays a majority of his reps in the slot. Who could I trade back with? So now we're looking who's on the board. I think I could still trade back. No, because if I go behind 10, the Jets they have no reason not to take a Dunze, even though I think they could go tackle. Guys, I'm spending a lot of time on this pick right here, but this is just what I'm thinking. If I could get 15, 46, they don't even want to give me 82 to move back. I'm picking up that day 2 pick. Guys, after mulling some of these decisions, I'm going to check one more trade. 21, that's too far for me to move back. Let me see what Jacksonville wants to do. So this trade is still right there on the table. That's 17, 48, and 96. Rome on the board. Oh, just what I think about Rome Odunze. It's a tough one. I think this works out for both teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they get their number one receiver. They pay him with Kirk. They pay him with everything they have there. Chicago Bears, we pick up some more capital. We're feeling really good about where we're going. I gotta make it. I gotta make it. They accepted it. They took Rome Odunze. We're still on the board right here. Whew. I know that's an interesting one. I know that's an interesting one, but I had to do it, and I wanted to take you through the process. I just didn't want to trade back with Rome Odunze on the board and you say, what are you thinking? I'm with you on Rome Odunze. I understand it. But when I think about this team, I think getting just a little bit more capital is where I want to go. Are my edges still on the board? Now, also talking about needs, I'm looking at edge. I'm looking at interior offensive line. Defensive tackle, we also have some depth there. Drafted Zach Pickens and Gervon Dexter last year. Still have Andrew Billings. I'm looking to add one more piece to that. And I think, like I said, a receiver. But I didn't want to go it there because that would have stripped us of everything else that we could have done. Now, edge. Let's go to edge. So we got DL and edge. So I'm thinking our edge guys are going. Okay. Our edge guys are going. For me, I think I'm going to get that game changer. I mean, Matt Eberflus, he loves his 3-tech. And when I look at this right here, talking about everything that's on the board, I think that defensive player who can bring us that pass rush and be a menace on the defensive line, I think for me that's Byron Murphy. And it could easily be Jerzon Newton as well. I like both of those players. Right now, I think Byron Murphy is more of a complete player with what he brings in the run game and his technique there. But I still like both of these guys being game-wrecking 3-techs, doing different things. And when we talk about nickel defenses, it's going to be Tremaine Edmonds. They're going to look at, okay, TJ Edwards. Now we got this 4 down front. We got 5 defensive backs. I think Byron Murphy is that 3-down player who can do a lot of different things in the run and pass. Just making sure before I make the pick, Byron Murphy is the player that I'm going with here. Chicago Bears fans, let me know what you think down below. That's where I'm going with it. Number 48. Very, very interesting pick. Very, very interesting pick. Now, let's just assess what's on the board first. Jalen Pope. Very, very interesting player. Very interesting. I could easily get interior with 75. Looking at edge here. I think there's some really underrated edge guys in this class. Marshawn Nealon. I like Nealon. I really like Nealon. And when I think about edge, because I want to attack this defensive line. Braylon Trice. I think Nealon is my highest graded guy still left on the board for me personally. Really like him there. And then I think with Nealon, I'm also looking at a guy who brings some versatility, can help me in the run and as a pass rusher. Let's look at his measurables and talk him up right here. As we can see, 28 hurries, 6 sacks. I mean, we think about this, 6'3", 275. Pretty good edge rusher here. I really like Nealon right here. Receiver, still got Troy Franklin. Do I want Troy Franklin to be kind of that deep threat? We're going to have him in a limited route tree, but we're going to let him get down the football field, allow DJ Moore to be our consistent down-to-down guy. Like I said, Keenan Allen can work a lot out of the slot. Did it a lot there for the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Nealon may be my guy right here. And then once we do this, now we say, okay, we've attacked this defense. Matt Eberflus, he's going to have a top 5 to 10 defense with all the tools and talent that he has here now. We still at an edge. We got a game changer at the defensive tackle position. You still got Gervon, Andrew Billings, and Zach Pickens. Now that's a rotation that you're working in there. Still got Montez Sweat that you made the trade for. Got Caleb Williams now. DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson. We're looking at what's kind of going on with this football team. I think with the depth of this receiver class, because I'm not looking for a guy to come in here and be kind of that quote-unquote number 2. I'm looking for a guy who can play on the perimeter and be an outside threat, but I don't think that I have to go there right here. And when I think about the value of the edges I can get off the board now compared to then, I think Marshawn Nealon is my pick right here. Now we're looking at 7. Jalen Polk still on the board. Like I said, I think Jalen Polk, I think he will be going in round 2. But I can't control the simulator. And when I talk about a guy that I think very highly of, I was just talking about Roma Dunze. I said Jalen McMillan and Jalen Polk, 2 guys who are on your football team, very good receivers that you'll work with. Jalen Polk still being on the board. Johnny Wilson's on the board. Actually, let me assess this wide receiver position. We still got Jamari Thrash. We saw what he did down there at the Senior Bowl. Malachi Corley's interesting. Malik Washington. If you guys don't know Malik Washington, he's not that big, 5'8", 194. But if you cut on his tape, oh my gosh, that is a game changer. I believe I was watching Peyton Wilson, and I just saw him going crazy. Now, I think Polk being the best player on the board at the receiver position. Let me look across the interior. I think I feel confident getting Polk right here. I can't trade back. I think if I trade back, he's going to be going. Junior Colson being on the board right there. We don't need a linebacker, of course. Blake Fisher, solid tackle. Andrew Phillips, he's probably going to go higher based on what you see on the film, and I think what the draft consensus is leading up to the draft for him. Benson's on the board. We got some really good players on the board. I'm going to go Jalen Polk. Now, I've assessed a lot of different things with this football team. I've assessed defensive line. I've assessed that wide receiver 3. We got Caleb Williams. I mean, we're cooking right now. Now, like I said, let me know down below in the comments. What are you thinking? Where's your mind at right now? But I think right now we're doing really, really good. So right here, Marshawn Lloyd's on the board. I think we got some pretty interesting players in Mason McCormick. He's a guard. Now, see, it gets interesting right here, where we say, okay, can we get a guy, and do we want to put him? He's used to playing guard. Do we want to try him at center, see what he looks like? I think we have a center right here in Box Limmer, coming out of Arkansas. Solid player there. Michael Hall Jr. still being on the board. Now, guys, I told you, it's going to sting not getting that offensive lineman right there. But Michael Hall Jr., based on my evaluations, looking at the players on the board, I mean, I like McCormick. I see the guard fit there, but we got Tevin Jenkins. We got Nate Davis. Bucky Irvin still on the board. We don't need a running back. I think I go value right here. This is just a player that I'm extremely high on, and I think rather than me trying to force a center in there, even though I like Bo Limmer, I think rather than me trying to force a center in there, I get a player who I know can contribute and who I know is developing. He's putting on more weight. What he already brings you, he's explosive. He's going to be that pass rushing guy off the interior. And if he can get better in his run defense, we're looking at a game-changing defensive tackle in Michael Hall Jr. Saw what he did at the Senior Bowl. I'm going to take Michael Hall Jr. And I went crazy with the defensive line here. But I mean, Chicago Bears fan, and Bo Limmer's still on the board. No, don't even need to talk it up. Guys, what are we cooking with right here? We went quarterback. We've went Byron Murphy. We've went Jalen Pope. We've went Marshawn Nealon. We've went Michael Hall Jr. And we got Bo Limmer out of Arkansas. We got our center right there. You know what? I think I've done good to this point. Let's have a little fun with this last pick. Keegan's still on the board. Cooper Beebe still being on the board. I think just based off of a player, Mo Kamara still on the board. Ben Sanat still on the board. Tight end out of Kansas State. We got some talent down here. Kalen Carson. Josh Newton. Guys, I think I'm going to have a little fun with this pick. I think I want to go offensive line. Just with Cooper Beebe still being on the board. I mean, you got Alabama edge right here. We got Audric Estim. I mean, we got some guys on this board. You got Tyke Smith. I don't think that really fits the need of this team here, but Malik Washington. You know what I think about Malik Washington. I just talked about him. I mean, a lot of people will look at him and say, just line up in the slot. But he's a game changer. He was catching those smoke screens. He was catching those bubble routes, and he was going the distance. Benson, that's a fun pick at the tight end position, but you bring over Gerald Everett. Still got Cole Kmet. Don't see the need there. Cedric Gray's a solid linebacker. Christian Boyd's on the board. Mason Smith's on the board. Josh Newton, I like. I think I'm gonna go Cooper Beebe. Just get that depth on the interior of the offensive line. Continue to build it. I like what I did in this draft. Let's see what the grade is. Guys, we got an A+, we got an A, a B-, a B+, a B+, and a C+. I got an A. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments about this one. You know, it may not be the flashy. And so some people will not live with the decision that I passed up on Roma Dunze. Guys, I can understand it. A very, very good player, but I looked at the need of this team and I had a specific direction I wanted to go. If you know what Jalen Polk is and you know what he brought to that Washington offense, like I said, I don't think he's going to be there at pick 75 when we get down to this thing on draft night. But when I had the ability to pick up Marshawn Nealon, I got Byron Murphy, who I really like. I got Michael Hall Jr., who I really like. We got our center in Bo Limmer, and we added depth with Cooper Beebe. I feel really good about it. I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Watch film on these guys. I urge you, if you haven't seen these guys just yet, go watch them up, check out, see what they're doing, see what they do on the football field. I'm high on all of these guys. Like I said, the ability to have Byron Murphy, Michael Hall Jr., Marshawn Nealon, Jalen Polk, I feel good about this one. And I want to know what you think down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be working on more just like this. Different NFL teams. You're going to be very happy with the next one that we got coming out here. But right now, this is the perfect Chicago Bears 2024 NFL mock draft. Let me see what your mock drafts are down below. What did you think about my draft process? Who would you pick that I didn't pick? Or who would you not pass up on that I passed up on? That's going to do it for today. And now, we out.